Good morning. So we'll get started in about 5 minutes. And for those who are going to do the live stream, we're just going to wait a few minutes for them to join. So for those of y'all who just hopped on, and those of y'all who are gonna watch this later, grab, if you have them, a couple yoga blocks may come in handy, a couple blankets, and maybe a pillow. You may want them, you may not, but it's always just good to have them on hand. So this will be a 60-minute Yin plus Yang class. So the Yin portion will be at the beginning, where we'll have some longer, more passive holds and poses, and then we'll transition to the Yang portion, which will be more of a flow, like movement. So we'll give folks just a few more minutes. We'll get started. For those watching live, we'll get started at 6:30 and we'll be done by 7:30. I'm actually going to stay close for the next couple of minutes just so I can see who's here and say hi. Good morning. So for those of y'all just joining, have any props that you know you like for your yoga practice. If you just have a couple of blankets and maybe a pillow or two, those will come in handy. If you do happen to have yoga blocks, those are great, but won't be required for practice. And I hadn't even said, my name is Tessa, and I'm from Houston. And I'll repeat for those just joining that this is a 60-minute Yin plus Yang class. I got about two more minutes. So get set up, get comfortable. And for those of y'all that are here, feel free to share where you are. I know we've got participants in this challenge from all over. We've got about one more minute. I will go ahead and get myself set up so we can get started when it's time. So we are about on time. So I'll go ahead and just get started. So my name is Tessa, and I'm a yoga teacher from Houston. And this class today will be doing a 60-minute Yin and Yang class. So we'll be done, for those of y'all doing this live, by 7:30. And we'll start out with our Yin portion, where we'll hold poses for a little bit longer, about 3 to 5 minutes each. softer, more passive holds where we're not going to use our muscular effort to pull us deep into these poses. And then from there, we'll transition to the yang portion of our practice. So a little bit more movement, more flow, kind of getting the energy back up for our day. So let's go ahead and get set up in our first grounding pose, and I'll talk a little bit more while we're in it. So come to either Virasana or Vajrasana. So for Virasana, you're sitting in between your feet, in between your ankles. If this is a lot on your knees or your ankles, if you happen to have yoga blocks, you can sit up on one or two to give yourself a little more support. Or come to Vajrasana, which is sitting on your shins, actually on your ankles here. So choose your seat. And start to settle into your space. You can allow your eyes to close. And sit up really tall. So, as we move through class today, I invite you to imagine an area of your life that you may be feeling stuck or stagnant. This could be in relationships, in work, your yoga practice, or something totally different. And whatever kind of floats to the surface, just notice. And during practice, during the initial yin portion, when we're more still and introspective, I'll be inviting you to reflect on this stagnation in your mind and body in different ways. And during the yang or the flow portion, the focus will be on the physical movements, the energetics. And when we get back to Shavasana, back to our stillness, I'll draw you back to that internal focus so you can just observe any movement or change in your body. If your eyes are closed, start to blink them open. And whether you're in Virasana or Vajrasana, start to bring your hands back behind you. We're making our way towards saddle. So if you do have blankets or pillows, you can create sort of a ramp or incline behind you as you come back. And finding your appropriate edge this morning, wherever that is. And once you've found your appropriate edge, allow yourself to settle into stillness. You can allow your eyes to close again, just to minimize any distractions around you. square breathing. So wherever you are in your breath, exhale everything out. Then inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that go. Allow your breath to return to normal. Only a few more breaths here. Noticing just how the journey of this pose has been the last few minutes. Slowly start to come back out the way you came. So if you came all the way down, first up to forearms and then all the way upright. And come to a tabletop, hands and knees. And we'll make our way to twisting deer. So setting up for deer, bring your left leg forward and your right leg sort of out and to the side. So you're making 2 right angles with your leg. Your left leg, the shin is somewhat parallel to the top of your mat, and your right leg is out at this right angle, knee in line with hip and foot in line with knee. Pause in your deer, and then walk your hands around to the outside of your left leg for twisting deer. I'll kind of readjust so you all can see. And in this twisting deer, you can stay upright on your hands. You can even bring hands to blocks or any props that you have to bring the ground up a little higher. Or you can come down to forearms, again finding what your appropriate edge is in this moment. Wherever you are, let your head and neck relax. Bring your attention back to your breath. Just start to notice that space between your inhale and your exhale on each side, top and bottom. Just little moment of pause that naturally happens. Just notice for you what you find there. If you're looking for a little more sensation in your back leg here, you can walk your right foot in a little closer towards your glutes. And that might give you a little more sensation along the front of the right thigh. And of course, the opposite, if you're feeling a lot of sensation and feel like you're past your appropriate edge, you can walk your right foot further away from your body. Start to walk yourself back forward to your deer. And then keeping your front leg more or less where it is, start to extend your back leg long for swan. So swan, also known as pigeon in other styles of yoga. So in your swan, your front leg does not need to be parallel to the top of the mat, especially if that's past your appropriate edge. That front foot can be a little bit closer to your pelvis here, and that takes some of the intensity out of this pose. And from here, you can move from your upright swan and choose whether you want to stay here or if you want to move towards sleeping swan. And for me, I like to, if I do go to sleeping swan, I like to rest my forehead on a block or on a blanket. Start to settle in. Bring your mind back to that area of your life that you've been feeling stuck or stagnant. That we identified at the beginning of class. Ask yourself, can you identify where that sensation is living in your physical body? Maybe you even give that area a shape, a color, a texture, a temperature. Start to actually see it in your mind's eye. If you're in sleeping swan, start to walk yourself back upright to your swan. And to come out either quick tabletop or downward facing dog. Come back to tabletop. And we'll make our way to twisting deer on the other side. So bring right leg forward. Left leg out to the side, so you're creating those two right angles. Pause in your deer. And then walk yourself around to the outside of your right leg. Again, choose your appropriate edge, either staying up on your hands here, or you can start to walk yourself down to forearms. So for those who are newer to Yin, there are sort of three pillars to the practice. The first is, I've mentioned it a lot, finding your appropriate edge. So where you feel challenged, but not pain. The second pillar is adding stillness. So once you've found that edge, really allowing yourself to settle in and be still. And the third pillar is adding time. So choose here if you're looking for more or less sensation in that back leg, more sensation walking your left foot sort of in towards your glute, and less is moving that knee out and further away from you. Notice anywhere in your body that you're gripping or holding any unnecessary tension. Allow that area to relax, to soften. Start to walk yourself back to the top of your mat. And move towards swan, extending your back leg long. Choosing the positioning of your front leg. Even out your hips. And then you either choose to stay in your upright swan or move towards sleeping swan. Bring your mind back to that physical area where you're holding on to that stagnation that we checked in with earlier. That physical, maybe shape or color that's in your body. And start to send your breath towards that shape or that space. See your breath rolling over it, around it. Maybe you start to see it softening and dissolving around the edges. Seeing the tiny pieces breaking off and flowing into your body's current. On your exhales, maybe you imagine those tiny pieces exiting your body, going down into your mat, into the floor. Inhale, see your breath flowing around. Exhale, soften, dissolve. See those pieces leave. Walk yourself upright if you're sleeping. And come through to tabletop or downward facing dog. Just a quick transition. And then back down to tabletop, hands and knees. Maybe grab a blanket and pad your knees here. And we'll make our way to melting heart. So for melting heart, keeping hips stacked above your knees, walk your hands long and let your head and chest melt down towards the mat. You can use any pillows or blankets for support, either under your chest or under your head, knowing that we'll be living in this pose for a couple of minutes. Bring your mind back to that shape or space once more in your body, the physical manifestation of stagnation. Just notice, are there any changes after you used your breath? And the answer might be no, and that's totally valid. Notice your breath. On an inhale, send your breath to that space once more. Imagine it carving through the center. And exhale, draw your breath back through and out. Keep breathing like that. Inhale, sending your breath in and through the middle of that space. And exhale, dragging it back through and out. Imagining your breath carving out a pathway or tunnel through that space. Slowly start to walk yourself back upright to table. And if you have something under your knees, feel free to keep it there. And we'll start to move towards the Yang portion of our practice. So I'm just setting myself up so I'm more towards the center. Start to get active in this tabletop. Press your hands into the earth. Maybe you press the earth away, creating a slight rounding shape in your back. And then let that go. Come back to a neutral table. Engage your low belly. And then reach your right leg out long. Keep your toes tucked. Toes make contact with the mat. And just notice when you straighten your leg, did your low back overarch? If so, draw your front hip points towards your bottom ribs, active and engaged. Lift your right leg in line with your hip. Spin your inner right thigh up towards the ceiling so your right toes point straight down towards the mat. And extend your left arm out long in front of you, balancing table. Rotate your arm so that your thumb is pointing up towards the ceiling. Press down through your right hand, engage your core. Bend your right knee so the sole of your right foot is almost like stepping on the ceiling. And start to take little pulses here, just using your right glute to lift your foot and your knee. Just little motions. 3, 2, 1. And maybe you sweep your left arm back behind you, reaching for that right foot. Maybe you catch the foot, maybe not today. Wherever you are, lift your right knee away from the earth, getting a deeper stretch along the front of your right thigh. Open across your chest. And without slingshotting, release that foot, come back to balancing table. Keep your leg lifted, lower your left hand. And start to rotate from your right hip so your toes point out to the side. Sweep that right leg out to the side so that it's in line with your hip. And then step it down. Come upright, hands to hips. And reach your right arm down the side of your long right leg and sweep your left arm long in line with your ear for a side body stretch. It's sort of a modified gate pose. Sweep your left arm in front of you and to the side, planting your left palm in line with your left knee. And sweep your right arm long in line with your ear. sort of a modified side plank. And then we'll just move from one side to the other. So sweep forward and across, modified gate. And then sweep across, modified side plank. So making this motion almost like a dance. Getting mobility in the hips, in the spine, in the shoulder girdle. And the next time your left palm is planted, stay there. And then walk your hands back to the top of your mat. So we're going to come out of this the way we came. So lift your right foot in line with your hip, send it back, and then rotate from the hip so the toes point down, and lower that knee down. All right. Fun. Other side. Extend your left leg long, toes tucked under, still on the mat, and just engage your core here. That'll protect the spine. And then lift your left leg in line with your hip. Spin the inner left thigh up towards the ceiling so the toes point straight down. Draw your low belly in. And extend your right arm out long. Balancing table. Bend your left knee and start to take your little pulses. Whew. Just little motions, isolating the glute muscle. They do not need to be big. 3, 2, 1. And then sweep the right arm back behind you. Maybe you catch the foot, maybe not. Lift your left knee, open across your chest. Come back to balancing table, slow as you can. Keep your leg lifted, lower your right hand, and then spin your inner thigh so that your toes point out to the side. And sweep your leg out to the side, perpendicular to your body, and step that foot down. Come upright, hands to hips. A modified gate. Reach your left arm down your left leg, right arm sweeps in line with your right ear, side body stretch. And sweep your right arm across your body out to the side, plant your right palm. Sweep your left arm long in line with your ear, modified side plank. And keep moving like that, sweeping across from one side to the other, really getting rotation in your shoulders. You might feel this, I feel this in my hips. You might feel it in your spine. The next time your right palm is planted, pause and walk yourself back to the top of your mat. We'll come out the way we went in, lift your foot, send the leg back, and then rotate from the inner thigh so your toes point down and lower your knee down. Nice. Make your way to downward facing dog. You can pedal out your knees here. I like to bend both knees, really lengthen my spine, send the tailbone towards the back corner of the room, and then re-straighten, keeping that length in the spine. Narrow your down dog a bit, so walking your feet in slightly. Root down through your left palm and reach your right hand towards your left leg. maybe grabbing somewhere along the outside of your left leg. Draw your right shoulder, almost like you're trying to pull it under your left, and maybe you send your gaze under your left armpit up towards the ceiling. Down dog twist. Plant your right palm back down. Switch. Reach your left hand for the outside of your right leg. Twist. Like you're trying to draw your torso through. And release. Readjust the length of your down dog. Lift your right leg, three-legged dog. Spin your inner thigh up towards the ceiling so your toes point straight down. And step your right foot right in front of your left toes. Lift your left leg, three-legged dog. Toes point straight down. And step your left foot right in front of your right. So we'll keep moving like that. Lifting the leg and stepping it down, walking towards the top of the mat. When you get there, pause in a forward fold. Bring hands to shins. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine from tailbone to crown of head. And exhale, fold. Inhale, root down, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up, Utthita Hastasana in Tadasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your palms. Step way back with your right foot. Lower your back knee down, untuck your toes. Root down through your right shin. Inhale, reach up for your low lunge or half crescent. On your exhale, maybe you sink a little deeper into this lunge. And bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist towards the outside of your left leg. Tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee. Root down through your feet. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Your back heel is lifted. Draw your front hip points towards your bottom ribs. You might feel some firing along your right quad when you do that. Bring your hands back to heart center. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, twist. Twisting crescent. Get heavier in your front foot, lighter in your back foot. We're making our way to twisted chair. Hop your back foot to meet your front. Nice. When I say nice, I'm talking to myself because I know I can't see you. Lengthen your spine in this twist. Maybe you open across your chest. Come to center, chair. Reach your arms long in line with your ears. Sit low. And rise up, Tadasana. Yay. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms and step all the way back with your left foot this time. Lower your back knee down, untuck your toes. Root down through the length of your shin. Inhale, sweep your arms up, half crescent. Exhale, sink a little deeper. Bring hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, twist to the outside of your right leg. If your right hip is wandering, drag your right hip back in line with your left. Kind of like you're pulling your right hip towards your left toes. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee. Root down through your feet, inhale, crescent. Rise up, reach up. Bring hands back to heart center. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist once more, twisting crescent. Drag your right hip back. You know where we're going, twisted chair. Maybe you use a little momentum to hop that back foot up to meet the front. Sit your hips low. Lengthen your spine. Inhale, chair. Exhale, Tadasana. Standing. Arms out to your sides. Step your right leg way back and parallel your feet to the short edges of your mat, setting up for wide leg forward fold. Bring hands to your hips. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, hinge from your hips and fold. Bring your hands to the earth or maybe to props. Let your head and neck relax. Send your weight more towards the balls of your feet as opposed to your heels. Maybe shake your head no, nod it yes. Just to really let that neck relax. Prepare for your day. Bring hands to hips. Inhale, rise all the way up. Pivot your feet now so that your toes point towards the outer corners of your mat. Sit low for horse stance. Bring your hands to your thighs. Sit a little deeper. And then dip your right shoulder towards your left knee. Straighten through your right arm. Come back to center. Dip left shoulder towards your right knee. And back to center. Draw your torso up tall, hands to hips, still deep in your horse. And straighten through your legs. Step your back foot to meet your front. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms. Step back to your plank. Pause in your plank. Press down through your hands, maybe creating a slight rounding between your shoulder blades. Draw your front hip points towards your bottom ribs. Lengthen your tailbone towards your ankles. And knees up or down, lower halfway or all the way. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Open across your collarbones. Exhale, downward facing dog. Come down to your knees. And we'll set up for dolphin. So just for this first one, unless you know that you're like the dolphin master, interlace your fingers. And bring your shoulders right over your elbows. So you have your hands clasped, tuck your toes, and then send your hips up and back for dolphin, rooting down through your forearms. You can walk your feet in slightly. Draw your shoulders up and away from your ears. You can take some optional leg lifts. If you're taking leg lifts, lift your right leg. Toes point straight down towards the mat. And lower your right foot, lift your left leg. Keep rooting down through your forearms. Lower left foot down, come down to your knees. Maybe pause in a quick child's pose. And we'll do one more set of dolphin, this time with some optional spicy things. So, if you are feeling spicy, your setup for dolphin will be forearms parallel, palms down on the mat. So shoulders, again, stacked right over your elbows. If you are feeling a little unstable in the shoulders this morning or have any extra needs for support, interlace your fingers again and just stay in dolphin the whole time. If you're going spicy, plant your palms, tuck your toes, and send your knees up for dolphin. You can stay right here, or start to get heavier in your left arm and bring your right fingertips back in line with your left elbow, so you're just on tented fingertips. Maybe you lift your left leg, bend your left knee, maybe you float the right hand, maybe you catch your left foot, or just bring your right arm behind your low back for, I've heard this called dolphin strut or dorsal fin. It's just fun. Okay, lower your knees down if you're done playing with that. Reset for the other side. Forearms parallel, palms planted, tuck your toes, lift your hips. Maybe you draw your left fingertips back in line with your right elbow. Maybe you lift your right leg. Bend that top knee. You might play with just floating your left fingertips up. Maybe if you find your balance, you reach for that right foot. If you touch it, it counts. And then slowly come back out the way you came, child's pose. Nice. So whether you felt struggle in that pose or you grabbed your foot from the beginning, it doesn't matter. We're just playing. Come to a seat on your mat. And extend your legs out wide for a straddle forward fold. Flex your toes back towards your shins. Sit up tall and exhale, fold. If you have a lot of tension in your hamstrings, bend your knees here so your spine can stay long. And unlike the yin portion at the beginning, here we are actively stretching. We're using our muscles to draw ourselves deeper. Slowly walk yourself back up. Bring your hands behind your knees. Help your legs together. Flex your toes again, active legs. Bring hands to either sides of your hips. Inhale, sit up really tall. Exhale, tuck your chin, Dandasana or staff pose. Keeping that lifted chest as you draw your chin down. Lift your chin. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold. Paschimottanasana, forward fold. Hands can be on the sides of the legs, either grabbing the legs or on the floor, or grabbing toes or feet. Again, bend your knees if you need to keep your spine long, drawing your sternum towards your toes, and then let your head relax. Rise back up. And come to laying all the way down on your back. Supta Baddha Konasana. So bring the soles of your feet together, knees fall wide as you're here on your back. Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. So with your right hand, I'll sit up so you can see if you need a reference. So with your right hand, bring your index finger and your pointer finger and middle finger to your eyebrows, right, the space in between. Bring your thumb to one nostril and your ring finger to your other nostril. Plug the right nostril, inhale left, plug right, exhale right. Inhale right, exhale left. Inhale left, right exhale. Right inhale, left exhale. Left inhale, right exhale. Right inhale, left exhale. Let that go. And switch hands. Now bring your left hand to your face. Pointer finger and middle finger presses to the space right above your eyebrows. Your thumb to one nostril and your ring finger to the other. Inhale left, right exhale. Right inhale, left exhale. Left inhale, right exhale. Right inhale, left exhale. Left inhale, left exhale. Let that go. If your legs are out wide, bring your hands to either side to close them like a book and extend your legs out long for Shavasana. Give yourself something to cover your eyes, and I will bring you out when it's time. So know that you can drop in, and there's nothing left that you have to do. Start to see yourself on your mat as if you were looking down on you. And see yourself as the powerful and capable being that you are. And bring your attention back to that space or shape representing the stagnation that you've been experiencing in your physical body. And just observe it. Notice if there have been any changes to how it feels or how it looks in your mind's eye. And the answer may be no, it may be the same. And know that that's okay. Know that your breath has the power to create movement in your body and in your life. And with consistent practice, you can see that shape change and see your life change too. Start to bring awareness to your breath and send it wherever is calling to you. Start to notice your physical body and where it's making contact with the earth or with itself. And when you're ready, gently roll yourself onto either side. Bring your hands to the ground and press yourself up to a seat. Thank you so much for those who joined me live today, and thank you for joining me if you're watching this and doing this later. I appreciate you trusting me with your practice. Namaste. So for those that are here live, feel free to say bye. But otherwise, I will sign off in just a minute here, and yeah, I'll be doing another one of these Yin and Yang, one more of these on Tuesday morning at 6:30. So feel free to join me then, and I hope all y'all are keeping up with the challenge and enjoying all these awesome teachers. Yay, thank you so much. All right. Bye, everyone.